You're listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
It is Friday, July 10th. It's July.
Halfway through almost.
Halfway through July.
It's crazy.
You know what that means? Normally, in a normal year, you'd probably be overwhelmed with all kinds of ads on TV for back to school, right? But people aren't nearly talking about back to school nearly as much this year. Don't know why. It's strange. So two high school opportunities going on that we're going to share with you today. Thrilled to share them with you. Two really good things. A high school that maybe you haven't considered for your son or daughter. We're going to share that with you in just a little bit. And an opportunity before school starts up to learn more about serving as a pastor or a deaconess, serving in the church. So we'll share more with you about that in the second half of the program. Thanks to Concordia University, Wisconsin for supporting the Coffee Hour. You can find out more about Concordia University, Wisconsin at cuw.edu.
Live uncommon.
Joining us by phone this morning, Clint Colwell. He's Director of Admissions at St. Paul Lutheran High School in Concordia, Missouri. Clint, thanks for joining us on the Coffee Hour today.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me come on.
Absolutely. It's good to hear your voice. It's been a while. I think the last time we chatted was maybe National Youth Gathering last summer about this. It was around this time.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, it's been a little while.
Yeah, well, good to have some time with you this morning. Share with us a brief history of St. Paul Lutheran High School.
Sure. So we're kind of located out in a little bit of nowhere, but we started out it was in 1883. So it's been a long time we've been around, and it was really started out as to prepare young men for the seminary to go on to St. Louis. So they would kind of get some pre-courses for pre-seminary work, and over the years it grew and ended up adding a high school. They had a 2-year college. It was really similar to a lot of our other Concordia colleges like Seward and some others that they had a high school and a college. The difference between us and them is they dropped the high school and we dropped the college. And so if you look at our campus today, it looks very similar to a university or a college. It's because that's what we used to be. And so that allows us to be a little bit different, that we are now the last of the LCMS boarding schools that's out there. So we are able to take students, and it's kind of contained on one campus. There's dorms, a dining hall, the whole thing that you would find on pretty much any other college campus.
So how does that make St. Paul's a different place for students who get to attend there?
Well, it gives a lot of opportunities. First of all, you can live anywhere, and that you can be a student at St. Paul. We get a lot of students, military families, missionary families. It also allows us to host a lot of international students to be on campus. And so our student body runs about 200 on a normal year. Last year we had 83 of those 200 were from 21 different countries outside of the United States. So that gives us a lot of diversity in our student body.
Do students come to St. Paul? You mentioned, at its origin, students came to St. Paul to prepare for holy ministry, to prepare to go to seminary.
Sure.
Do students come to St. Paul Lutheran High School for a specific course of study now, or is there a specific emphasis that they come to St. Paul for?
Sure. So, our roots really are in church work and preparing students for church work, and that really hasn't gone away. We do encourage our students to do that. Usually on a given year, between 10 and 20% of our student body will be at least interested, if not going on to pursue church work to one of the Concordias or to the seminary after that. But really, we've become a lot of it because of our roots in preparing students for college. That's kind of still what we are. We prepare students to go to college no matter where they are going to go. Our international students really come in with a strong background of science and math, and so we've really become an excellent high school that prepares students for science, for math, and then our choir program and our music program has really been one that's been an attractive feature for a lot of students that are also interested in performing, in the arts and things that way.
Mm-hmm. My husband's actually a St. Paul alum, and I can tell you he is very strong in math and he is very strong in music. And
There you go.
He had a wonderful time when he was there. He always tells so many stories of all the opportunities that he had. With all of these international students and boarding students from all across the country, what does that mean for the day-to-day life of being a high schooler at St. Paul? I mean, we're used to going to school, coming home, having our extracurriculars, our parents driving us.
Right.
What does that actually look like for students at St. Paul?
So about half of our student body lives on campus, so they're here all the time, and the other half are day students that would commute like a normal high school. I think the things that kind of make a daily routine maybe a little bit different is we are kind of like set into, there are certain times, like for example, athletic practices have to end because that's when the dining hall is open for meals, and so we have students that have to go, eat. And then that also means that there's students that are here. So we can do things later into the evening, so our day students can come back. They have study hours during the evening from like 7:30 to 9, but then 9 to 10 is kind of a coveted free time, so that allows them to kind of get together and do some things. And some of our day students will actually spend their time coming back to school in the evening just to be able to hang out with their friends because they know where their friends are. They're right here.
How were the students, the faculty, and the staff impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic this year? Yeah,
that was interesting, right? So that back in March, we had just gotten back from spring break, and we had a plan of action to go forward, and then literally within a day that all changed, and we ended up we chose to not have seated class. So we took a week off so we could prepare, and we did to go to distance learning. That meant then for some of our students, there was an issue. Our day students, they were going to do distance from home, but the other 100 students we had in the dorm, so they had some options. Our Norwegian students, which is about 30 of them, they had the option to go home, and they chose to do that. And then we ended up with about 25 students that were staying in the dorm. They either were not able to go home or they were deciding to stay because we weren't sure if school was going to open again. We weren't sure what was going to happen at that time. So we kind of had to figure out. They did distance learning, but they did distance learning from about 50 yards away from where the teachers were. That's what we did, and we took care of them, and we had a commitment that if they needed to stay through the summer, we would take care of them. Fortunately, we were able to find any ones that weren't able to go home or chose not to for the summer. We had some generous host families that took them in and are taking care of them right now. So there was about 8 that ended up staying here in the United States. The rest were able at some point to get flights home. It was kind of up in the air there for a while, but yeah, it was certainly different. But it gave us some background and options so that when we come back to school in the fall, that if we need to go back to distance learning, and we're still going to be doing some options with that, that really gave us some experience in that.
Mm-hmm. Do you know any plans yet for fall, or is that still in the works?
So our plans right now is that we will be having seated classes. We're planning on that, unless for some reason things have to go back into another shutdown. I don't really anticipate that being as full as it was initially, but so our plan is we'll have seated classes. We do have. Now that we're able to do that, we have some options for distance learning. So we know that there's going to be some of our students that from some of the countries, Vietnam and some other places, they're not going to be able to return. So they're not able to get out of their country right now, or a number of countries, the consulates are not open for them to get their visas. So we're going to be offering them online courses, from wherever they're at, but we'll have seated courses here. So if they're able to get here, we will have class, and we're going to go be learning in the classroom. And then based on the fact that, from last spring, we learned a lot, on how to handle, because we had a bunch of students still in the dorm. I mean, telling everybody to go home means basically they go to the dorm. And so that, for us is a little bit of a different scenario than just sending them home. So we learned some things about just making sure they're safe and taking care of them, and making sure that, we have a commitment also to the community as a whole here in Concordia to make sure that, people here feel safe, and that we are taking precautions to keep our kids, but also the community safe as well.
So share with us information about this fall, how we can learn more about admission and enrollment for this fall with just about a minute left.
Sure. So admission is easy. You go to www.splhs.org. That's our website. Lots of pictures of campus and things, and you just simply click on the Apply Now button, and that gets you started in the process. There's also contact information. You can contact me if you have any questions via email, and I'd be happy to talk to anybody that would either like to come for a visit or learn more about St. Paul.
Very good. SPLHS.org is the website to learn more. Is that
correct?
Right?
Yep.
You can visit, you can call Clint and learn more about it. So seated classes this fall, which sounds like a fantastic option, living in a small, close community right there on campus, all the students living in dorms, and or most of the students, I should say. You mentioned earlier, there are some day students and some who won't be able to make it back to campus who will be connected virtually, but it sounds like just a fantastic opportunity. Sarah, we should have had your husband Luther on to talk about this from an alum perspective, to talk about his experience. And I know we have alumni here at the International Center as well, and some parents here at the International Center as well, who speak very highly of St. Paul Lutheran High School, and just very grateful that we still have this great school to serve not just our own church body, but also to reach out to so many, as you've provided a great education for students from around the globe. What a great outreach! That's just fantastic. Well, Clint, thanks so much for being our guest on the Coffee Hour today and sharing with us about St. Paul Lutheran High School in Concordia, Missouri, offering classes this fall. SPLHS.org. Thanks for being our guest, Clint.
All right, thanks for having me on.
Coming up in just a little bit, more opportunities for high school students even this summer. You're listening to the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.